I'm Felicia,
And I'm Ian.
and we are the Paranormal Lovers. Go for it.
Hello, paranormal dudes, dudettes, and dudays. Welcome back to another episode of the Paranormal Lovers.
Hey guys.
Hey guys.
Thank you for joining us for another week, episode 45.
Sweet.
That is sweet.
Almost to 50.
Almost. We're getting there. We're closing in on a year.
Yeah, that's crazy. It went by so fast.
It has went by so fast. Like I can't believe it.
Doing this podcast made us realize kind of how fast it's goes.
Yeah, we got 7 episodes left until we hit a year.
Yeah.
So interesting. All
Kinda
right,
cool.
that's amazing. What did you love about this week?
Let me see. What did we do this week? Oh yeah, we went bowling yesterday. That was fun.
I hurt so bad.
I had a killer game yesterday.
You and Patty
Kept getting strikes.
We're doing great. I suck at bowling. I live in the gutter, so next time we go bowling, I'm gonna be like, "Can you put the bumpers up on my turn too?" Because
I mean, it's valid.
I suck.
Make it funner.
I think it's also hard for me because I'm left-handed.
Yeah.
So it's a little trickier doing left-handed throws.
Sure.
I'm not really good at it.
Yeah.
Not great. And I hurt. Everything hurts. My legs hurt. My back hurts. My arms hurt.
It's good for you.
And I was only using a 9-pound ball. It's ridiculous.
Happens when you get old.
Hush. I'm not old. I'm only 37.
What'd you love about this week, baby?
I definitely enjoyed bowling. It was my last week as a cook.
Yay.
And I will be starting as a manager tomorrow. So
good job.
Woo. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm only going to be like a shift leader, so I don't have all the responsibilities,
but
I have a little bit of responsibility, which is kind of my jam. I like having a little bit of responsibility,
but not all of it.
But I don't want all of the responsibility. Which,
right.
like, if you're thinking about having a kid, keep that in mind because you will have
all
of the responsibility.
All of the responsibility.
Every responsibility you could ever think of. It's a lot. It's a lot. All right, guys. So this week, with it being November is American Indian, Indigenous person, First Nation, however you want to call it, Heritage Month.
Happy Indigenous Month.
I love Indigenous lore and all that stuff. So this week, I decided to do the Wendigo.
It's awesome.
It is awesome. I did shoot them a message, but I want to say if you guys want to go over and listen to Indigenous Tales, they redid their Wendigo episodes.
Yeah, it was good too.
It's really good. I haven't listened to the second one. I listened to the first one, and the first one they give you a lot of information about the Cree tribe.
The second one was good too.
Is it?
Oh yeah.
I'll listen to it tomorrow, maybe.
Right.
Training, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
So consider this like a basic lesson on the subject, and head on over to Indigenous Tales and listen to their 2-part episode on it. They did it for I think their first 2 episodes, and then they redid it.
The Wendigo was their first episode, I think.
Yeah. So the legend of the Wendigo is firmly rooted in Indigenous lore. Wendigo means evil spirit that eats humans, or simply cannibal in other translations. Today's research has the legends coming from the Algonquin-speaking tribes, mostly those of the Great Plains and the Great Lakes and the First Nation tribes of Canada. This is a creature that thrives in cold weather, which, I don't understand how, because it's a stick, but okay.
Right. Ain't got no meat on them bones, does it?
No. There is also debate within the psychological community about the effects this lore has on people. It is seen as a culturally bound syndrome. This disorder includes the desire to eat human flesh, and it is called Wendigo psychosis.
Dang.
Yeah. There is some debate on whether or not it is a true diagnosis, but there have been a few reports of it happening, which I will talk about later. Which Indigenous Tales also did a story that I'm going to cover in this one. So,
right.
Wendigos are said to be Oh, excuse me with the gas. Ugh. Wendigos are said to be malevolent spirits that take over one's body and makes one have feelings of insatiable greed and or hunger and the desire to murder then cannibalize humans.
Hmm.
The
Crazy.
creature, yeah, it's bleh. The creature one becomes as a Wendigo is described as an emaciated human-looking figure that may or may not have long, sharp claws and giant owl-like eyes, and in some legends, it is a giant.
Some of the descriptions remind me of like zombies,
Kinda, yeah.
kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, it does have a zombie feel to it, but they're more intellectual, like, they're smarter than zombies.
Sure.
Because,
Kind of like a zombie,
well,
maybe mixed with a vampire,
we'll
like
get to it,
with
but it's
the glamoring sort of thing.
kind of. We'll get to it.
Okay.
Ojibwe teacher and scholar from Ontario, Basil H. Johnston, described them as such. Quote, the Wendigo was gaunt to the point of emaciation, its desiccated skin pulled tightly over its bones. With its bones pushing out against its skin, its complexion the ash gray of death, and its eyes pushed back deep into their sockets, the Wendigo looked like a gaunt skeleton recently disinterred from the grave. What lips it had were tattered and bloody, unclean and suffering from the suppuration of the flesh. The Wendigo gave off a strange and eerie odor of decay and decomposition, of death and corruption. End
Shoot.
quote.
Shoot.
Yeah, and it said that you'll smell it before you see it
Right.
because it reeks.
It kind of reminds me of that smell you get at the top of the mountains here.
You know what that smell is?
It's like skunky.
It's mountain laurel.
Yeah, yeah.
It stinks
I
to the
know,
high
right?
heavens, and I don't understand why. I'm like, you're a beautiful tree. Why you stink so bad?
That's what it reminds me of, though.
Yeah, or like that the spider plant that we had,
Cause
or the
yeah,
butterfly
yeah,
plant that we had in Canton.
yeah,
It smelled like ganja,
yeah.
but it was like a flowering natural plant that was not ganja. It
But
was
like,
strange.
you'll be walking in the woods here, and like you'll smell that smell just out of nowhere, though.
Yeah,
It's kind of
it's mountain laurel, and
yeah,
I don't know why it stinks, but it does.
yeah, yeah.
The giants of the creatures stand 10 to 15 feet tall and grow in accordance with each of their victims that they eat. This causes them to never truly feel full, and as the embodiment of greed and gluttony, they are always on the hunt for their next meal. So, like, if they ate you, they would grow accordance with your size. So they're never getting full. They just keep like growing. I don't know if they like shrink afterwards because it seems like they would just never stop growing.
Like when they don't get enough to eat, then they start shrinking.
Maybe I didn't find anything about that, but I would kind of think maybe that was what would happen because it seems like they would just never stop growing.
Right.
A person may become a Wendigo a couple of different ways. The most common way is by starvation. Someone may be out in the cold northern wilderness and run out of food, leaving them with what they feel like is the only option of eating human flesh,
Mm.
i.e., the Donner Party.
Right.
I was like, I hope none of them became Wendigos because, oh boy.
Right.
I looked it up. I think there was like 84 people that went on that trip and only like 37 survived.
Wow.
And I don't think they were actually like killing people to eat them. I think they were eating people that had already died, which like, oh,
like
I mean,
somebody died of starvation, and then they were just like, "Well,
we gotta eat.
we gotta eat."
Yeah, pretty much. They also ate like animals and stuff, like their pets and stuff they had with them.
That dead guy's feet look like chicken nuggets.
Shit. God dang. Like, look at this juicy buttocks. No.
It's turning into a hamburger.
I love to like gnaw on Patty's butt, and she hates it. But I'm like, and she's like, "Mama, stop biting my butt." I'm like, "But it's such a chunky little butt." Another way,
thick.
she is thick. She's solid.
She's thick.
She's thick like her mama, but she's like stout. Another way is by spending too much time with the Wendigo. There is also the lore that someone might dream of a Wendigo, and in that dream, they get bitten, and then they turn into a Wendigo.
So, like the zombie bite.
Mm-hmm. Wendigo can also be used as a term to describe someone or events. It can be used for people who have a quote, corrosive drive towards self aggrandizing greed and excessive consumption, traits that sow disharmony and destruction if left unchecked. End quote.
Makes me wonder if it's like a biological thing too,
What do you mean?
like a virus.
Yeah, I guess you can kind of describe it that way because, like, if you spend enough time around a Wendigo, then you allegedly can turn into one if it doesn't eat you.
Right.
But it's also used for people that are just greedy.
It's the rage virus.
They're just greedy.
Right.
And they want what they want, and they're just give me more, give me more, give me more, give me more, and they're never satisfied with what they have.
Mm-hmm.
So it is no surprise that it can be used to describe colonization of the land and capitalism today.
Sounds a lot to me like alcoholism.
It could also, yeah, I
Right.
definitely see that because you never get enough alcohol.
The ego just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
While your body is slowly wasting away from the alcohol consumption.
Yep.
Yep. Professor Chris Schiedeler states that the figure of the Wendigo represents, quote, consuming forms of exclusion and assimilation through which groups dominate other groups, end quote. The greed of the then colonizers threw the tribes off their land, and with no regard for Mother Nature, they upset the natural balance of things. Because, in indigenous tribes, you take what you need and nothing more.
Right.
That's it. You just take what you need. You think Mother Nature, you think the animal, you appreciate the gift that you're given to continue living.
I love those concepts.
I do too. I think it's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
But, colonizers came over and they were like, well, we're going to take this land, even though it's yours. We're going to take it. And still today, capitalism is doing this. And we're just going to take as much as we can.
Yeah.
And there's some really
It's so
disturbing
sad.
photos of, like, when colonizers came here, of just mounds and mounds and mounds of dead animals that they would just shoot just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
They weren't, like, eating them. They weren't doing it. They were just going out hunting for fun, which is why, like, I'm all for hunting to feed yourself and your family.
Sure.
But when it comes to hunting for sport, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
It is really, truly disgusting to just hunt for sport.
That's why, like, some hunters around here, like, I kind of have respect for, because they'll not only, like, use the hides, they'll, like, eat the meat. They'll, like,
They use every part of it.
They use every part of it.
And yeah, there are people around here, white people.
I'm sure.
That
There's some of them that don't, but
they do have great respect for the animals that they're killing, and they don't just go out and hunt just for the shits of it. They're doing it to stock their freezers so their family eats.
Yep.
Like you said, I also have mad respect for that. Like, you're feeding your family. You're not just going out and doing it because it's fun.
Not saying I could do it, but
I mean, I could probably do it.
I don't know, man.
I might cry in the process.
I'd be real upset.
If I'm hungry and I'm not ready to eat my dog yet, I'm going to go shoot a deer.
This is true. And I mean, in a survival situation, sure, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, like, capitalism is still doing it today. And this is where I told you I was going to get on a soapbox during this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Take a look at Asheville.
Yeah.
Right? It is being gentrified at an alarming rate, and the cost of living is going through the damn roof over there.
Yeah.
People that have lived in that city for decades are being pushed out of their homes and becoming unhoused because they can't fucking afford these astronomical rates people are paying for mountain views.
Yeah.
If anybody's not watching on YouTube, I'm using air quotes.
Yeah.
Not to mention the number of reports, that I've seen recently of animals going into the city looking for food and shelter. This is, of course, due to their habitats on the mountains being torn down for houses and apartment buildings.
Yeah.
But there are not many people that actually want to work towards the solution for the problem. They'd rather it just go away.
Yeah.
They don't want to see the people living on the streets because a company decided to demolish their homes to build a condominium and then charge 4 times the original rent. They don't want to see the animals coming through their yard looking for food because their habitat was demolished by other companies looking to make a buck. They just don't care, and
They
they
don't.
don't wanna see it because it makes them uncomfortable, and it makes them have to think about how shitty it is, and it makes them have to think about, like, "Oh, well, this is my beautiful home, and I got it because somebody else is now homeless, or these animals, they lost their habitat."
Yeah.
They don't wanna see it. They don't care.
It's like whenever they kicked him out of that spot beside the highway or beside the
Beside
church.
the church, yeah.
Yeah, because, like, they built these big, huge new condominiums right across the street, and I bet they didn't wanna see him there,
No, that's the main
and
reason
they
why they
just
got
kicked
rid
him
of
out.
it, because it was on the interstate, and it's an
Yeah,
eyesore for people coming to visit Asheville.
yeah,
Asheville runs a lot on tourism
mhm,
with the mountains, the Biltmore House, kayaking, and all that stuff, and so you can't show people that there's a problem.
yeah,
They don't want people to know that there's a problem. Well, guess what? We fucking know there's a problem.
yeah,
We know it. It's
mhm,
not hard to know when you drive down the road and you see people sleeping in doorways
yeah,
or at the bus station or just laid out on the damn sidewalk because they don't have anywhere else to go.
yeah,
And yeah, like we have one or two like shelters and stuff, but you have to like be there at a certain time.
mhm,
Like there's only so many beds and we have more unhoused people
and
than
there is
there are
shelters.
shelters for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I wanted to go help build the tiny houses with Beloved.
Yeah, there is a organization that is called Beloved Asheville, and they're working on building, like, low-cost income housing. They're actually building, like, a little community, which is really, really dope, and
Yeah,
they're always going out and, they have these things called pantries, the Beloved pantries, where you can put,
street
like,
pantries.
food, you can put, like, socks and gloves, you can put like, stuff in there. They go out and they'll hand out, sleeping bags and tents to people.
Yeah. They check on them at, like, cold nights and stuff, they'll go check on them,
Yeah.
make sure they're alright.
They even have, like, a street medic team, which used to
Yeah,
be formerly unhoused people, and they go out and give people medical care on the streets because they can't afford to go to the damn hospital to get it.
I love that,
That organization,
organization,
they
yeah.
do great work.
Mhm.
Um, okay, I'm gonna get off my soapbox now.
Okay.
I just sometimes, you just gotta go on a tangent. That's fine.
Yeah.
So, when a person becomes a Wendigo, they keep some traits of their human existence. They may be able to use tools and commonly have kept their ability to speak. They use their voice to lure victims to them. They are able to mimic voices of those one sorry. Okay, I see what I was trying to say here, but I put it wrong. They're able to mimic voices of people that someone loves, making it so they do not actually need to hunt their victims.
Right.
However, one story tells us of how they may be able to survive partial dismemberment and how they have no problem cannibalizing themselves.
Huh.
Collected by Lottie Chico Marsden, an ethnographer of the Chippewas of Rama First Nation, the story states, quote, "One time long ago, a big Wendigo stole an Indian boy, but the boy was too thin, so the Wendigo didn't eat him up right away, but he traveled with the Indian boy, waiting for him till he'd get fat. The Wendigo had a knife, and he cut the boy on the hand to see if he was fat enough to eat, but the boy didn't get fat. They traveled too much. One day they came to an Indian village, and the Wendigo sent the boy to the Indian village to get some things for him to eat. He just gave the boy so much time to go there and back. The boy told the Indians that the Wendigo was near them and showed them his hand where the Wendigo cut him to see if he was fat enough to eat. They heard the Wendigo calling the boy. He said to the boy, 'Hurry up, don't tell lies to those Indians.' All of those Indians went to where the Wendigo was and cut off his legs. They went back again to see if he was dead. He wasn't dead. He was eating the juice or the marrow from the inside of the bones of his legs that were cut off. The Indians asked the Wendigo if there was any fat on them. He said, 'You bet there is. I have eaten lots of Indians. No wonder they are fat.' The Indians then killed him and cut him into pieces. This was the end of this giant Wendigo." End quote.
Hmm.
So yeah, they got no problem eating themselves.
Crazy.
Which, like, okay, I'm not about that life.
Right.
Although, admittedly, like, I got a lot of fat on these thighs. If you ever needed some extra insulation, just carve you off a chunk. It'd be all right. One story of alleged Wendigo psychosis comes to us from the Plains Cree tribe in the winter of 1878. A trapper from Alberta named Swift Runner lived with his wife and 6 children. During this harsh winter, food near their home was scarce, although they were only about 25 miles from the closest town. Personally, that seems like a really long distance to have to travel
Sure.
by like foot or possibly by horse or dog sled.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in mountains, then like, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like 1878 in Alberta. I seriously doubt that Swift Runner had access to a vehicle or like a snowmobile
I mean,
to
they
get where he needed to go.
might have had a sled.
That's what I'm saying. He might have had like a dog sled,
Right.
which could probably get you there fairly quick.
Sure.
But if he didn't and he had to walk,
Shoo.
25 miles is a long way to walk in the winter in Alberta.
Yeah. For sure.
It was a distance he could have covered, though, if he wanted to get food for his family. Unfortunately, his oldest son died of starvation during this time. For whatever reason, instead of making the journey to get food for him and his family, Swift Runner went on to murder and eat his wife and his 5 other children.
Hmm.
Once it got out, Swift Runner was tried and executed at Fort Saskatchewan after he confessed to his crimes. Another story tells us of a shaman that was tried for killing someone he claimed was turning into a Wendigo. The brothers Jack and Joseph Fiddler were arrested in 1907 for murdering Joseph's daughter-in-law. They claimed that she was showing signs of turning. Jack escaped from the police only to unalive himself. Joseph went to prison where he died of tuberculosis in 1909.
Hmm.
Or as some of my other favorite podcasts like to say, consumption. That's what it was called for the longest time.
Yeah.
So, if you should ever find yourself face to face with Wendigo, just know that they can be killed.
Hmm.
In some sources, it states it must be a shaman that kills them, while others claim that anyone can. It takes either a silver, steel, or iron bullet or knife to the heart to kill them. One source states that crushing the skull can also kill them, although the heart shot is your best bet. It is stated in some places that you must burn or melt the heart to make sure that they are really dead.
Hmm.
Season 1, Episode 2 of my favorite show, Supernatural, is about the Wendigo.
Right.
At the end of it, they defeat the creature by stabbing it in the heart with a lit flare. So that takes care of that.
Burned it up.
Burned it up from the inside out. And like doing this and thinking about that episode, I remember it was like this dude starts eating like raw hamburger and then he's eating raw steaks and he like bites his wife and then he runs away and becomes a Wendigo.
Nice.
And I don't remember.
Not nice, but you know.
Yeah, I don't remember how he turned into a Wendigo. I think like his dad was a Wendigo.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of his parents was a Wendigo, so he became a Wendigo at a certain
Slowly
age.
became a Wendigo as well.
Yeah, it was a good episode. Whether the Wendigo,
Love Supernatural.
I love Supernatural too. I wish they'd bring it back.
Yeah.
We need to get back into watching the Winchesters. I'm still pissed that they canceled Wayward Daughters before it even had a chance.
Yeah.
Like I was really, really looking forward to that.
I think it would have been a good show too.
I think it would have been great because everybody knew the characters. You had Jody
Mhm.
and Donna and Prudence, Patience, something like that, Claire, and I can't remember the other girl's name.
It would have shown like a lot of the side stuff that happened too.
Yeah, it was going to be great, and
Yeah.
I'm real bummed that they didn't follow through with it. But whether the Wendigo is real or not, whether the psychosis is a real diagnosis, I think we can all take a lesson from the lore of the Wendigo. The dangers of letting greed consume us are very real. Wanting to make money and have a good life is fine, but letting greed consume you to the point that all you can think about is making more money or just having more, that will turn you into something you will not recognize. It will turn you into a monster.
Sure.
And that, my dear friends, is the legend of the Wendigo. What do you think, Bill?
That was cool.
Yeah.
I like the story of it.
Which one?
Like all of them.
All of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those that I wasn't really sure about doing because like a
It's
lot of
got
people cover it.
it's got a good lesson.
I think that's
I
the main
mean,
thing from it is like even if the Wendigo's not real, even if people don't think Wendigo psychosis is a real diagnosis, like
don't let greed rule your life.
greed will turn you into something you don't recognize.
Sure.
Period.
I don't see how some top government officials like live with themselves.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
I mean, I feel like we could maybe possibly call the government a Wendigo because like
Yeah,
they're just not happy with
for
what
sure.
they have.
Yep.
They want more power, they want more money, and they
All
don't
the time.
care. They really don't care how it affects the American people.
Yep. They have an insatiable appetite of
They do. They have an
destruction.
insatiable appetite. And it's not just within this country either. Like we have to go and fuck with other countries, try
Yep.
and steal their resources, and then people wonder why we get like attacked.
Yep.
Well, I don't know. Maybe because we should mind our own damn business
Yeah.
and quit trying to steal everybody else's resources.
Yep.
Like
Money, oil,
money,
land.
oil, land. Like you go down to like Dominican Republic, they've still got slavery down there with them sugar plantations
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. Domino sugar. That's where all their sugar comes from.
And
Sugar slavery.
if you look at the biggest money makers in our country, like all of them are something to do with the government.
Oh yeah, the government has their hand in pretty much any pie they can get their hand in, and it's not. And it's like you'll have one side that has their hand in big oil and this and that and the other, and then you have another side that has their hand in something that's supposed to be good for us.
Big pharma.
But yeah, but in reality is not. Well, I'm thinking like
Yeah.
you got like big oil on one side and then you have like green energy on the other side, right?
Yep.
Like big oil is bad. We know why big oil is bad. You look at green energy, there's parts of green energy that are not good too.
It's true.
Because like everything that you have to mine to make like solar panels and
Yep.
batteries that hold that energy,
The lithium mining, yeah.
the lithium mining, it's terrible. It's terrible for the people that have to do the mining. It's terrible for the environment.
Yep.
It's not as great as people think it is.
No.
There are, and like, look at wind. The Morro Bay. Morro Bay is a perfect example of it with Indigenous tales.
Yep.
The government is like, okay, well, we'll give you this land right here, but we're going to keep this little piece of it right here in Morro Bay because we want to put wind turbines in the ocean, which is going to destroy the ecosystem. Not that we give a fuck.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, give them all their fucking land back and quit being greedy. Yeah.
Yep.
How about that? Just give them all their land back, quit being greedy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a petition you guys can go sign if you go on Instagram. I don't know if it's on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok, but if you go on to Indigenous Tales on Instagram, in their bio, they have a link that you can sign for the Shumash people to keep Morro Bay because, like,
it was sacred land to them.
It is sacred land to them. That is a very sacred place. But the U.S. government's like, but money.
Yeah.
But money.
And I'm sure that they could put those wind turbines anywhere.
They could put those wind turbines anywhere. But no, they want to stick them in the ocean.
Yeah.
They want to stick them on the bay because it's so windy through there.
Yeah.
And it is. It's a very, very windy spot. I've never been there, but I've heard them talk about it. And I've seen pictures and videos from there. It's hella windy.
Right.
But, like, it's give them their fucking land back and quit being greedy. Quit trying to destroy our ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just stop it. Just stop it.
I mean, we're intelligent enough now to like find ways around all of the energy problems that we have now.
We really are. And like
the government just needs to let smart people do it instead of like trying to force things that line their pockets with money.
Yeah, but if smart people were to come out with these, ways to have energy and stuff like that, then the big energy companies would lose money and then the government would lose money because these energy companies are paying for these government officials to get elected and shit.
That's why fusion hadn't happened yet.
Like, oh, I'm sure it's happened, but they don't want to release it to people
Yep.
because they know that it's going to take money from other people that
Yeah.
want money. It's just a never ending cycle. And it's basically like, say, here in America, it's money over everything.
Yep.
Everything. All
The
right,
United
guys.
States of Wendigo.
Yeah. Hey, Indigenous Tales, y'all want to make some merch that says that? The United States of Wendigo? That'd be pretty dope. I would buy that. I already got your Trust the Government shirt with the dead people on it. So get me a United States of Wendigo shirt. That'd be great. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you joining us today. Thank you for listening to my tirades and my rants.
Thank you, guys.
I'm in a ranty mood lately. If you would like, head on over to Instagram. Let us know what you think about this episode. How do you feel about Wendigos?
Have you seen one?
I'm gonna guess probably not, because they'd probably be dead.
Right.
Or a Wendigo.
Yeah.
One of the two.
Are you a Wendigo?
Are you a Wendigo? Please send us an email at paranormallovers@yahoo.com.
Let us know.
We would like to hear from you.
We'll have you on the show.
Just don't come after me, because it ain't cold enough down here. Sorry.
We'll do it through StreamYard.
Yeah. If anybody has any tales about Wendigos or anything else, like you've been out in the woods, have you heard a long dead lost relative calling your name?
Send us some spooky woods tales. We'd love to hear them.
That would be really fun. I'd love to get like some
I
Appalachian
love spooky
tales.
woods tales.
Yeah, there's always some weird shit going on in the woods.
Oh yeah,
always. That's
always.
why I prefer a city, but whatever. Head on over and check out our website at theparanormallovers.com. If you guys want to head over to our Instagram, you can see some new artwork that Ian just finished for us.
Yeah.
The other day. Cute paranormal lover ghost. And if you want to see our faces, head on over to YouTube and search at the Paranormal Lovers in the search bar, and you can watch these videos.
Like, share, and subscribe.
And all that good jazz. Thanks for joining us, guys, and we'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.